Was a girl running in our group. She had a high-speed motor in a 40 Ford Coupe. She had a racing cam and a supercharged. Look out, buddy, hot rod and large. She's a hot rod. She's a hot rod.
And there's so much stuff that we got to talk about. And you know what? It's time. When we sat down tonight, or this afternoon, I looked at Chuck and I said, I am very tired of being lied to. I've just had enough. And I'm talking about the car guy, the car business. And I'm the car guy. And I've been at it for 50 years plus, and I have never been more in distress of what's going on than what's going on right now. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of these people telling us we're investing more money in batteries and research and plants, and we're going to build cars next to each other. What if they're building an electric car next to a Tahoe and the car catches on fire? The Tahoe's going up. I mean, I'm tired of this. And they're telling us that we're going to be all electric by 2035 or whatever. You know what? I have not met one person that has an electric car that would have another one, and I've not met one person in my realm, the people that come into my business, ask them about electric cars. Never will they own one. What are you going to do? What if the government forces you to do it? I mean, we're being forced to do a lot of stuff these days anyway, and we're pouring more money into this. But here's the thing: everything's closing off. Things are over. Things are done. GM is planning layoffs at the Kansas City plant in November. As Malibu production ends, they're going to cut out the Malibu. The plant will be down until the middle of 2025, when it will start building the Chevrolet Bolt electric vehicle and resume production of the Cadillac XT4 crossover. Here's what I'm talking about. They're going to build them right next to each other. Lines that go, it's going to be crazy. The automaker said in a filing through the state of Kansas under the Federal Worker Adjustment and Retraining Notification Act, wow, that's a mouthful, that the first of two rounds of layoffs will begin November 18. That first group will include the temporary layoff of 686 full-time workers and the termination of 250 temporary employees. Yow, there's almost 900. There's 900 people going down the chutes. Starting January 12th, 759 full-time workers will be temporarily laid off, according to the filing. The Fairfax plant will continue to run its first shift into January, GM said in the filing. The production of the Cadillac XT4 compact crossover will then be paused so the plant can be retooled to build the next generation Chevrolet Bolt electric vehicle alongside the gasoline-powered XT4. God, I hope they don't put any gas in those tanks till they're all done. GM committed to investing $391 million in the Fairfax plant in its contract with the UAW that was ratified last year. The automaker in May said the plant will come back online better or later in 2025. You're looking at, and that's what they say now. Who knows if they're going to need that electric Bolt? What if they're just building them to park them in parking lots and fields and just let them sit? Chuck, what are we going to do here?
Let's talk about that, because I honestly believe that to them the goal is to build them, not to sell them.
Exactly. They just want to build them.
Once you build them, you say, look what we built. Not look how many we sold. Look how many satisfied customers we've got. It's like, look how much money we've spent. Look how much we've built.
Yeah, they really don't care if they have satisfied customers. They just want to build them and get them out the door.
I mean, we already know that when asked, that only about half of people are happy with EVs to begin with.
Exactly. And I know another half that are just totally unhappy with your federal government telling you what kind of car you're going to buy. That's just not going to happen. I don't think Americans are going to put up with it. I don't. I know I won't. I'll go to my grave with this gas guzzling thing I got. I don't care. Here's another plant. Because of that, because of that going down in GM, the Yanfeng plant to close the Missouri plant. They're going to lay off 444 workers. So now we're up to 1,500 or whatever. And then, because Malibu, as GM ends their Malibu production, the Chinese supplier plans to close its Riverside, Missouri factory in November, according to a layoff notice. Yanfeng will permanently close the plant within 2 weeks of November 15th, according to the notice provided by the supplier to the state of Missouri and the city of Riverside. The closure will result in what the notice said were permanent layoffs of 444 employees, including 398 members of the UAW, Local 710. Yanfeng, a maker of seats, electronics, and automotive interior products, provides components to GM's Fairfax assembly plant that we just told you was closing, or temporarily, they say. The closure is slated for around the same time that GM plans to end production of the Malibu there in November. Chuck, it just keeps getting better and better and better. I mean, and now we're in a big fight with China. We're busy fighting China over these cars and building these cars cheaper and whatever. And we're I don't know. I just don't. Well, I'll just keep telling you, and you will form your own opinion, please. But I'm going to keep preaching, and I'm almost getting on my soapbox. I'm on the first rung. General Motors and Ford will need to stop importing vehicles to the U.S. from China under a proposed rule cracking down on Chinese software and hardware, a U.S. Commerce Department official told Reuters Monday. That's what they're afraid of, is the software. They're afraid of getting hacked. They don't want China to get all our information. They don't want China to know how people in America are driving and what kind of cars they're driving so that they can build up their sales. The rule would also affect other automakers selling or building vehicles in the U.S., such as Volvo, because Volvo is built in China, and BID. BID, that's Warren Buffett's place, I think, or somebody like that. GM sells the Buick Envision, and Ford sells the Lincoln Nautilus, both assembled in China. In our U.S. market, they're made in China. Ford did not comment. In the first 6 months of 2024, GM sold about 22,000 Envisions, and Ford sold 17,000 Nautilus crossovers in the U.S. We anticipate, at this point, that any vehicle that is manufactured in China and sold in the U.S. would fall within the prohibitions, and it will, said Liz Cannon, who heads the Commerce Department's Information and Communication Technology Office. We're going to have to say goodbye to anything made in China. Their software, I guess their software is kind of crucial, Charles, to self-driving. They have some very good self-driving software that they're not using just yet, but they're supposedly developing it. And we're basically we're in an economic war with China over cars. Our car business and it's going to be strung up by its toes because of China. I'm dead serious. Here, days after the Biden administration finalized steep tariff increases on Chinese electric vehicle imports, the ripple effects might have reached the realm of self-driving vehicles. Here we go. Self-driving tech company Waymo is holding discussions with Hyundai Motor Corp about using the automaker's Ioniq 5 electric vehicle as a robo-taxi platform, according to reporters from Reuters and a South Korean newspaper. The talks come as Waymo, an Alphabet subsidy, I got to look up Alphabet to see who that is, searches for an alternative or an alternate to its Zeekr robo-taxi platform. And, well, Waymo had a crash or two, that's why they're in trouble, which is designed to and developed with Chinese automaker Geely. That's the one that Warren Buffett is in. The tariff is set to increase to 100% on September the 27th, so it's already done. Or not quite, but it will be.
Can we digress for a minute? I've got some more Waymo news that was really interesting. I was going to save this for later, but I think this is funny. So we've talked about a lot of the issues with Waymo. We've talked about they honk at each other. You can stop them by throwing a traffic cone and stuff. We've got a new problem with Waymos that we hadn't thought about. So imagine you're in a Waymo.
Oh, another new problem. Wow.
So there's a couple people. There's passengers in a Waymo. They've got their dog with them, and people walk up and start tagging the Waymo. So these guys with spray paint, they'll go and tag.
Oh, they're talking
stuff.
Tag. Yes.
So imagine
they do a building.
They started tagging a Waymo while there were customers in the Waymo. So there's a short clip that's going viral.
Where was this at?
And where do you think it was? Where do you think it was?
California.
It was San Francisco, of course.
Got to be California.
So
the land of fruits and nuts.
So this clip, they said this is an isolated incident, and so the group of vandals basically imagine they just jump out in front of the Waymo, so it stops, and then they just tag it, and then they walk away.
And they walk away.
So of course it was recorded by the Waymo vehicle. It was recorded by bystanders, all kinds of angles.
Is this some kind of protest?
No, it's just because they're bored.
Because they're
bored in there. They want to be edgy. They have nothing else to do.
So they're living on the street.
Right. So what are we going to do? We're going to jump in front of. So I mean, again, it's another problem you never thought of. Like somebody jumps out in front. It's not your car. What do you care? And they start. I mean, again, there's no respect for anything anymore. So
no, there isn't. They live in the streets and they got to poo on a tree in the park. Come on. I got to tell you, this is the kind of thing that just got me standing on my hair standing on end. I have a story here that Chuck's got to hear. The White House has picked Monroe Capital to develop a $1 billion fund for automotive suppliers. The fund will help smaller firms in the supply chain gain access to capital amid electric vehicle transition.
Didn't we just give them like $200 billion last week?
We did. We gave them for suppliers. We gave
them the plants. We gave the plants hundreds of billions of dollars. Now we're going to give them billions more?
Yeah, I
understand. At what point does you say, look, this product is not self-sustaining? Any other world, everybody else is going out of business, but we're just throwing all this money at EVs?
What's his name? Henry Ford said, we got this little car, and people might buy it, but can we make money on it? And that's the whole thing. You can't.
Yeah, but he also said if people understood how the banking system worked, there'd be riots in the streets tomorrow. So, it's the same idea.
Yeah, it's the same idea. You're right. And there should be riots on the street. The White House has selected Chicago's Monroe Capital. I wonder who owns that. I wonder who's got the in there to raise $1 billion private credit and to fund devoted to funneling money into the U.S. automotive supply chain. This is the people that make the parts, like this guy with the seats that can't afford to stay open now. The Drive Forward Fund will raise money from institutional investors and receive additional capital from U.S. Small Business Administration loans. Oh, here we go. And said Monroe Capital from CEO Theodore Koenig. Koenig said the automotive supply chain is a $1 trillion industry, representing 5% of the U.S. gross domestic product. Oh, I believe that. He added the White House reached out to Monroe when developing the program. Now here, this is the classic example of what I'm being lied to. We're dumping all this money because they believe in this to get these suppliers going, and we're still not selling any electric vehicles. They're dying. They're not going up, they're going down. Why are they doing this? Why don't they just come out and say, hey, this electric thing ain't working the way we thought it would. We're going to try something else. We're going to try hydrogen, or we're going to try the natural gas. We're going to try something. And I got to tell you, they have developed a couple of alternative fuels and a couple of engines that burn on anything. And what comes out the tailpipe is water. So you can have a conventional car with a conventional engine and not pollute the air, and you don't have to buy electric. They're coming. Trust me, they're coming. Every week, I start collecting all my letters from Automotive News, all the things that they post for me or send me. And I got to tell you, if I put them on my corkboard, I've got bad news or worse news, and then I've got the same old news.
You should categorize it by expensive, more expensive, and bankrupting news.
Bankrupting news. I'm telling you, this is insane. Now they're talking about all this stuff, but nobody says a word. Nobody says a word about, we're kind of not selling any cars and this isn't going good. We're going to bump this back to 2025. Now it's 2026. Volvo has said that 2030 is not realistic to get this done. I mean, they just can't do it. They can't get it done. And the biggest, and I'm going to tell you, the biggest problem with electric vehicles, besides the fact that they're being crammed down our throat, and that doesn't stick well with real Americans. But the problem is they don't fit everybody's lifestyle. Some people can use them, Charles. Some people can use them. You couldn't use one.
Right. Well, and that's the point, is that you're forcing technology that isn't quite there yet on people. And we talk about all these issues with the cold and how if you live in an apartment, if you live in you live in the city, you're going to run an extension cord down the street to plug in your car at night. Like all these issues.
I get it. And
they're not going to work.
I asked Rick, I said, Rick, would you buy an electric car? He says, I can't. He says, I go from Schaumburg.
He wouldn't have enough time to drive between work and home and
Schaumburg to Michigan City to Benton Harbor, St. Joe, back to Michigan City, back to Schaumburg. He would be stopping somewhere in Michigan City and plugging into a fast charger.
He'd be doing a show from his Tesla.
Yeah, he'd be doing his show from his Tesla. We
can set that up if he wants. Do a show from the Cybertruck.
Yeah, and that's chump change to him. He's got big dough. Oh, yeah, I got to tell you, they don't fit everybody's lifestyle. And they're not going to. They're never going to. There are people that just can't do it. And they're not going to take the chance on charging them after all these fires are breaking out. I don't want that charger in my home, especially the fast one. I wouldn't mind if I could plug it into an electrical outlet, but it might still catch my house on fire.
Well, I was thinking about the other night because basically my bedroom is right over my garage. Like, do I want to put a charger?
You're gone. Yeah, you're
right.
Gone.
Like, do I want to put a charger basically underneath my bed and charge my car at night?
Do the kids not want any more brothers and sisters? Because mom and dad are going to be gone. I'm telling you, it doesn't fit. I don't know how. They just keep throwing it in our face and throwing it in our face. And we're going to do this, and we're going to put more money into this, and we're going to put more money into that. We're going to give billions and billions of dollars. They just keep printing these billions. Well, if anybody knows anything about inflation, that's how it happens. The government spends more money than they have. And this is just nuts. You can't just keep printing money for these people because they can't sell these cars, and you can't keep subsidizing them. The car business should have, these people, the car companies should have had plenty of money to do all their own. But if the government's offering, why wouldn't you take it, Chuck? I'd take it. You want to give me $100 million grant? Hey, why not? I like that.